I've always loved to practice trumpet, and one of the most frustrating things about practicing is when I get tired and can't really play too much anymore. But what's even worse than that is when I get the horn out at the beginning of the day to warm up and I realize I'm beat up or sore from the previous day's practice or rehearsals or performances. And I know as students, many of you have marching band schedules that are extremely taxing. You may have pep band or concert band rehearsals that are long and require you to do a lot of heavy playing. So in this video, I'm going to outline 10 tips that you can use when maybe you're feeling a little bit beat up and you feel like it's going to be an extra challenging day for you. You can use the ones obviously that work well for you, and maybe just remember the ones that don't work well right now, because maybe in the future those will work for you. But I would try them all and just make a decision as to what's going to best suit your needs. Number one, remember how it feels when we're playing easy and efficiently. The reason that we got beat up was probably that during a longer rehearsal we got away from playing the way we're supposed to. Not only the amount of playing we're having to do, but if we mentally started to fatigue and we started to use more pressure, or we started to play off kilter a bit one way or the other, that's probably what led us to getting beat up just as much as the amount of playing. It was how we were playing. So what we want to do is start to steer things back to the way we know how to play. So just take a few moments to remember what it feels like to play easy and the way it sounds when you're playing nice and easy, and start trying to work back in that direction. Number two, accept your situation. If you're really beat up, that's just the way it is. You can't wish that that wasn't the case and all of a sudden you feel fresh. So you may have to be a little careful in what you're playing and what you're doing, and try not to be a baby about it. That's what I would generally do. I would feel beat up, so I would bash my face some more and get upset because it got even worse, put the horn away, and then maybe continue again tomorrow. But instead of doing that, just accept that today's practice session might have to be approached a little bit differently in terms of what you can do physically, and do the best you can under your situation. Number three, take extra time in the first stages of your warm-up. However you like to start every day, if it's long tone, buzzing, or whatever it is, you might do a couple extra reps of that stuff. Also, put extra breaks in between the exercises in your warm-up. Give your body some time to relax. Give your muscles a little time to work out the acid, and then hopefully they'll start loosening up on their own. If you're rushing the warm-up process, that's more than likely going to cause things to tighten up and maybe even get worse. So take a lot of time and be patient when you're warming up. Number four, don't abandon the way you already know how to play. Kind of going back to the suggestion number one, remember the way it is to play easy, remember how you play, and go back to that. Too often, I remember all of a sudden wanting to try new things because it physically wasn't working, instead of just sticking to my bread and butter, the way I know how to play, and letting my body have a little time to recover. Number five, only worry about the sound. Remember what a really beautiful resonant sound is like, and then just keep instructing yourself to go for that kind of sound. Let the body make whatever adjustments are necessary to make that happen and get you back to making the resonant sound that you want. Number six, only focus on the mechanics. Don't worry about the sound. Yes, this is the exact opposite of the previous rule, but sometimes one way will help me a lot more than others. Sometimes if I think sound, that kind of locks everything into place. Sometimes if I just don't worry about the sound at all and make sure I'm blowing nice and easy, my body tends to relax and work it out on its own. So you can try both ways, and you can pick whichever one seems to work for you the best on whatever day you seem to be struggling. Number seven, make sure that you're releasing the air very easily. 4 techniques that I'll recommend quickly to do that. 1, you can just do air attacks. 2, you could try some free buzzing, which is just buzzing without a mouthpiece or anything. Kind of like that. Number 3, You can practice the mouthpiece. Number 4, you can just play the lead pipe. So you take your tuning slide out and play lead pipe. And the nice thing about all 4 of these practice techniques is you're not really making the trumpet sound, so you don't tend to be quite as judgmental. If you're tight and it's not your best sound, that's okay. When you're doing these things, you're not going to really be worried about that. You're just going to be thinking about letting the air go nice and free. So again, it's blowing, just some air patterns, free buzzing, mouthpiece buzzing, or lead pipe. One of these techniques, or maybe a combination of them, at the beginning of your practice session might help you release some of that extra tension. Number 8, be aware of any extra physical tension that may have creeped into your playing. If you've been doing pep band or marching band and holding the horn up at a difficult angle, that could, of course, cause tension in your upper body, tightening your air up. You're not blowing quite right, and that will obviously lead to things getting beat up here. So maybe just take a moment to make sure you're relaxed and you're breathing easy before you pick up the trumpet and start to play. Number 9, just put the trumpet aside and do some extra listening. Investing time into listening is always going to help your playing. And if you do feel a little beat up, it's a good way to get the horn away from your face and also improve as a trumpet player. And number 10, make realistic goals. No matter how you feel, even if you're really beat up, there's probably something you can address in your playing or in a solo or an etude you're working on that you can improve without making your situation worse. Ultimately, when we're having issues with being really beat up, one of the main things we probably want to consider is what can we do today to ensure that tomorrow is better. That can mean just avoiding beating things up even more, but you can also go back and maybe just work on some small bits in your playing, just a couple measures at a time, and not try to run large sections or try to hit a bunch of high notes that you know is most likely only going to exacerbate the issues you're having. So I hope these 10 things will help. If you have any questions about these, please put a comment down in the comment section. And if you have anything any topics you would like to hear covered in the future, just let me know and I'll do my best to take care of that.